Good morning. It's Saturday, 19th of December 2015. This is Sylvia Shivamurthy and you're listening to the newspaper reviews on www.athavaneng.com. Let's now look at the newspaper highlights from today's newspapers. The top headline in Daily Mirror says, Vehicle importers asked to pay actual duty, says Ravi Kannanayake. Finance Minister Ravi Kannanayake yesterday denied reports that 700 vehicles had been undervalued and ordered to be released from customs without the actual import duty being levied. Another highlight says, Complaint lodged with FCID. All Ceylon Customs Service Union complains about 1 billion rupees customs fraud on imported vehicles. The All Ceylon Customs Services Union yesterday complained to the Financial Crime Investigation Division about 1 billion rupees fraud on vehicles imported on permits. There's another highlight which says, Indian girl contacted ISIS agent in Sri Lanka, says Times of India. A teenage girl from India has been placed under surveillance when police investigations had revealed that she had links with the ISIS after establishing contact with one of its agents in Sri Lanka and the other ISIS sympathizers on social media networks, the Times of India reported yesterday. Another highlight says, PM agrees to 16 of 25 SLFP requests, says Dilan. The budget 2016 is virtually going to be one which has been subjected to the most number of amendments, with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe agreeing to implement key changes suggested by some Sri Lanka Freedom Party MPs. The highlight at the middle says, Relations with Britain on sound footing, says Ranil. The government is maintaining sound diplomatic relations with Britain even in the absence of High Commissioner in charge of the Sri Lankan mission in that country, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe told Parliament yesterday. And the highlight at the bottom says, President responded positively, says GMOA. The Government Medical Officers Association said President Maithripala Sirisena had given a positive response to its demand during a discussion its members had with the President yesterday afternoon. And now let's look at the paper highlights in Daily News. The main headline says, Banning of hate speech, government to drop amendments. The Attorney General yesterday informed the Supreme Court that the government has taken a decision not to pursue with two bills pertaining to proposed amendments to the Penal Code and Criminal Procedure Code over banning of hate speech. Accordingly, the Supreme Court three-judge bench comprising Justice Bhuvanika Aluvihara, Justice Upali Aberatna and Justice Anil Gunaratne decided not to take up for support the 9 special determination petitions filed by various parties challenging the inconsistency of said bills with the provisions of the Constitution. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court decided to communicate the court proceedings pertaining to these petitions to the President and the Speaker following the undertaking given by Attorney General that the government would not pursue with proposed acts. The highlight at the middle says, Avant-Garde seeks court remedy to renew weapon license. The Avant-Garde Security Services Private Limited and its director, retired Major Nisanka Senadipati, yesterday filed a writ petition in the Court of Appeal seeking an order directing the Colombo District Secretary to issue the relevant licenses pertaining to 91 repeater guns for 2016. Another highlight says, New Zealand Prime Minister here next year. New Zealand Prime Minister John Key is scheduled to visit Sri Lanka next year, revealed Prime Minister Wickremesinghe in Parliament yesterday. He said that Key is visiting Sri Lanka to take part in the International Democratic Union meeting in Colombo. The Prime Minister made these observations yesterday in response to a question by opposition MP Udaya Prabhat Gammanpilla for oral answers. Another highlight which says, 2 students drown in tank. 2 students drowned in Kurnagala Saragama Thittawala tank at around 6:30 am yesterday. Another highlight says, PRECIFAC clears Kehelia of all charges. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power, state resources and privileges yesterday cleared former Media Minister Kehelia Rambukwala from all charges which the Commission had received against him. The highlight at the bottom says, Special investigations into spate of crimes. Police have launched special investigations into a number of crimes that have been reported island-wide in the last 2 days, which claimed 6 lives. And now let's move to the paper highlights in Ceylon today. The main headline in Ceylon today says, UNP MP threatens self-immolation. Says will torch himself in parliament and embrace others while burning. Another highlight says, Constitutional amendments. Joint opposition to get top legal advice. The joint opposition in Parliament has decided to form a special advisory board consisting of the finest legal minds in the country through which it could gain vital inputs ahead of the proposed amendments to the Constitution. And the highlight at the bottom says, EU calls for sanctions on Maldives. The European Parliament passed a resolution on Thursday morning condemning the human rights abuses by President Abdullah Yameen and calling for targeted sanctions to be imposed on his officials and supporters in the business community. And that's all for today's paper highlights, and we'll be bringing back more tomorrow. Thank you.